to Justin Keller. Keller walks in, deep, stopped by Magnay.
Looks like a delayed penalty.
Yeah, penalty coming up, a shot and a go. Jordan Westbrand, a sub shot. Good solid check there. Now here's a chance in on goal and a stop.
You know what? I don't know the major history of it. I came in, the team was obviously well established. Earlier on, I think it was Rob Calvel, Jody Smeltzer, Cal Belgay formed that team. And it was a good team right from the get-go. These guys were all kind of in their prime at that time, played in, with the juniors actually played against the senior teams back in the early days. And, they always, I remember the junior teams kind of saying, these guys are a little past their prime, but they soon learned that they forgot more than most of those junior players had learned. So they did a great job in the marketing and getting players involved and kind of created a family. It originally started out, I believe, with some friends and stuff like that. And then the recruiting process happened.
I'm what we call a lifetime member. The Heat lacrosse, Jeff Pfeiffer, Dr. Jeffrey Pfeiffer, had this theory. He was one of the original members, and he played college down in Nebraska, I believe it is. And anyways, he kind of instituted a lacrosse club, and that's how they do it in Australia and a few other places. And he said, once you're a member, you're a life member. And so that's how it is. We have several members in this club over the years, guys that have devoted their time and effort into helping out lacrosse in general and then played for the Heat. They're a member. And, so...
Well, it would have started in 2003. It would have been Jody Schmelzer and Scott Love. We're kind of looking at getting a senior program kind of going to kind of get away from the intercross. At that point was kind of the only thing kind of going for anyone over 22. So kind of built from there. And that was kind of the first year they kind of joined, just played a few exhibition games. And then 2004, kind of a lot of returnees. That's when I actually came into with the Heat was in 2004. And then kind of have been running things, so to speak, from kind of since I came on. But that was kind of some guys were tired of the intercross, wanted to get some real lacrosse going, and then kind of got that senior team built. A lot of it was kind of self-funded those first lean years, and just to kind of get it built up.
But yeah, the history of the Heat, I mean, like I said, we got asked to basically be involved in a junior senior kind of scrimmage or exhibition, I guess it was. And we were scheduled in with every single junior team. We had to at least play them once or twice. And the first year was completely ridiculous. We didn't know what we were doing. It's kind of funny because then the next year we picked up Jordan Westpratt, and all of a sudden, next thing you know, we had all these kids out. And I still remember this to this day. There was a bunch of kids, and then afterwards they're asking us to sign balls and these little posters they made and stuff like that. And I thought to myself, well, this is just weird, right? Like being not a pro athlete in any way in lacrosse, I just thought it was kind of cute. And the funny part about it is, years later, when we had a junior that graduated into the Heat, we have a tradition. It's a rookie drinking night, and we take them out. We take care of the rookies, and we have a lot of fun and stuff like that. And what he brought was one of the posters he made that all of us on the Heat signed. And he's like, I was one of those kids that you gave a ball to and signed. And he's like, this is it. And it just made me stop and realize, like, hey, it's actually had a bigger impact than I really thought it would. So, I mean, that's essentially what we started off to do. We started off to start something so that we would have some place to play, but also generations after us would have some place to play. So we tried to keep it going earlier on, like you said earlier, like some of the struggles. The struggle was real. I mean, we didn't really know what we were doing. We didn't know how to run a team. We didn't know what was all involved. And I gotta say, my wife was amazing, because there were times where, you know, we carried the team from one year to the other. And, you know, without that, a few of us would chip in money at the end of the year because we set the fees. And of course, like, we forgot this or this came up and we never thought of that. So this happened. So, I mean, it's one of those things that, you know, we struggled early on, but, you know, eventually we got it down to a science. And now it's not that big of a deal. It's still administratively heavy, but it's not too bad. But yeah, we've traveled everywhere. We tried to, early on, you know, we got kind of tired of playing the juniors, I got to admit. And I think they got tired of playing us. So what we'd try and do is use the junior kind of program to get us in shape and get us ready. And then we'd try and choose a tournament every year to go to. And then we actually hosted our own for a while too, called the West Can Cup. And we'd have teams from BC, Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba attend. So, I mean, those were good times. We'd travel to BC and Alberta for tournaments. We'd go to exhibition games in Manitoba. They would come here. So, I mean, we had a lot of fun with that over the years.
The way it started, now I don't know exactly the history behind it. My son had played a couple years prior in that Prague tournament, once with, I believe, Scotland, and then once with a team out of BC. And he always said that, you know, it was one of the best tournaments that he'd ever been in. And then there was a player that I believe was a former Heat player that played on the Calgary Roughnecks, and I can't remember his name right now. He talked about it.
Actually, one of our ex-players, Jordan Westpratt, used to play with the Heat. He was living in Ontario at the time, and he had gone in 2014 with a team from Ontario, and kind of kept in touch with him, and he's kind of brought it to our attention that they had this tournament. It was a pretty good time. So,
well, honestly, we won a championship, and we were kind of celebrating, having a few drinks in the bar, and I mentioned his name earlier, Jordan Westpratt, but he called us to congratulate us because I think somebody posted on social media. So he FaceTimed me, and he was in Hong Kong. So he FaceTimed me and he said, you know, hey, congratulations. And so the boys were catching up and stuff. And then he says to me, he says, so where are you guys going on your tournament this year? And I said, well, actually, I don't know if we are. And he said, you know what? I have this killer tournament in Prague. He goes, I'm going to send you a link and we should go to this tournament. And I said, really? And he goes, yeah, like, have a look at it. It's fantastic. You guys will love it. And so from there, you know, I hung up the phone and I was like, who wants to go to Prague?
Kind of threw it out to the guys to see who was kind of interested, if it was even a possibility. And the majority of guys were all gung-ho for it, for just that opportunity.
And of course, everyone's like, yeah, let's go. It's sweet, beautiful drunk talk, right? And everybody was gung-ho right away. So,
and then just one thing led to another, and then they just submitted, you know, an application to apply for the tournament.
We kind of put an application process in, and you got to be selected to go. And Andre, the one of the organizers, I ended up talking with him several times, and And, eventually we got the invite. But unfortunately, we got the invite super late. It was, I got to say, the tournament was in April, and we got the invite in like beginning of March, mid-March, because they had a team back out. And he's like, yeah, you're in.
That set the wheels in motion to start what was an unbelievable experience.
The only problem is, flights and stuff out of Regina were a nightmare. You know what it's like trying to get flights out of Saskatchewan, basically. So it basically tripled our cost to go, and that turned off pretty much everybody instantly. So we kind of had to shelve it for a year and talked with them, all the way throughout the year. And then finally 2015, he said, yep, that's your year. You guys are coming. So we started working on it. And
well, I was actually at Bishop's. I was in Sherbrooke, Quebec, attending university. This was 2015, just about to graduate. But when I finished my classes, just prior to that, I was told the Regina Heat were going to Prague, and I was a member of the Heat. So it was one of those phone calls that I remember quite vividly that you can't say no to. For those who know about the Ales Hrebesky Tournament, it's certainly on a bucket list of almost every lacrosse player I know. So when I got that call and we were going to Prague, there was a no-brainer in my mind.
Well, they were the first Saskatchewan team to go there, and I don't think anybody's been since. Some odd players have gone on their own, but this was the full Saskatchewan team that went.
Kind of assembled a group to try and get it going, and the team we took, I'll admit, probably wasn't our most talented team, but it was a team of absolute beauties that decided, you know what, we're gonna do this thing. It's first time that anybody has traveled to another continent as a team from Saskatchewan. So it was the first time overseas. So we decided we were gonna go for it.
And I was excited to get out there and see what we could do in another country and across the pond, if that.
The majority of guys thought it was a good idea. The only thing that's kind of limiting any guys was kind of the cost, but we had fundraising and things like that. But yeah, the cost was just the flights. It's really for the experience. It is as good a tournament, but it's not. It's very kind of. It's mainly just to go to visit the country and just for that experience, because the games are really short. So it's kind of a little different than going playing 60-minute games. Like it's 30-minute games, like 2 15-minute periods. So they go quite quickly. So it is a good chunk of change, but it's really just to go for the experience.
It was the veteran group, the Regina Heat being formed over 20 years ago. It was, Jody Schmelzer, Kyle Belgay, Arlen Shoden, Chris Moen, and company. We're all rallying to have this and have this come to fruition. So it was really hats off to those guys. They put in all the work to get us there. I'm probably missing some names. I'm not going to lie, because there was a good solid group there, and they put in the efforts. And I can't thank them enough for that, because I certainly had one heck of a time. And like I said, it was one of the bright spots in a lacrosse playing career, or if anybody has attended that tournament, a lacrosse career of any kind.
I looked at guys like Jody Smeltzer. There's once he got involved with that, he says, okay, this is it. We got to go. He's not getting any younger. And so were some of the other players. They weren't getting any younger. And he said, if we're going to do it, this is the year to do it. And, it turned out to be just a once-in-a-lifetime event for a lot of those players.
No, you know what? I got to say it was probably myself. Rob Calaval was definitely another one. He was our goalie at the time. So both of us, we knew that our careers were coming close to an end. I mean, we were mid-30s at this point. So, at this point, we just wanted to have the experience, to be honest with you. So, I knew if they wanted to do it, it was going to be now or never kind of thing. We had the opportunity, so let's make a go of it. So I took kind of the lead admin role on it and tried to organize everything and get jerseys and all that kind of stuff, which is a nightmare. Don't order from China because it's quite the process. So, and we fundraised and did all that kind of stuff. So there was lots of hands that helped, but the two key roles were Rob and I.
Well, obviously there were some perennial favorites. The hometown Czech Republic team was one of the favorites. And then you had, I think it was a team called the Mega Men out of the US that had been kind of dominating that tournament for a while. And every team had a sprinkling of ex-pros, guys like MacArthur, who played for the Calgary Roughnecks, was on a team. And, so there were some high caliber players that you, to be honest, you watch on TV and now you're playing against them. And you just know why they made the pros.
Well, we were excited. First and foremost, right off the bat of the tournament, we played the host team, the Raritan team, right after opening ceremonies. So they take you into that experience. We're on the floor. All the other teams are on the floor with us for ceremonies. There's a parachuter coming in, landing on the field. Just the excitement over nearly 2,000 people in attendance there. Just so nervous. There was lots of nerves, if you will. And right off ball drop, I recall quick face-off win, and they put it in the back of our net within probably 5 seconds. And I remember just going, "Oh, here we go." So it was an eye opener for the group. I believe the goal was called off on a crease call, but maybe Jimmer can correct me on that one. But we settled down. I recall we did lose that game, and but from there, we went through the tournament and we battled hard, and we didn't end up finishing in our round robin pool as well as we'd like. But we got into some playoff rounds, won some games in the playoff rounds, and sure had a heck of a time and enjoyed the experience to the fullest. That's for sure.
I thought overall we were quite competitive. Like, we just kind of got ourselves into a hole a little in the early first few games. Unfortunately, we were in a lot of penalty trouble. We had kind of witnessed a game before ours, and kind of how it was called was very kind of right up our alley, a real rough kind of style. So then when we got into our first couple games, we thought we could play that way, and being such short games, you get shorthanded. Those periods go by pretty quick, and it's hard to come back from.
Well, the team was okay. Again, we lacked a little bit of scoring is the problem. We didn't take our normal squad out there. We took, because of some guys had commitments, some guys couldn't afford it, so like there was always that kind of aspect of it. So we picked up a few odd players here or there that were willing to go. But we could have used a bit more scoring. The team itself, I think we deserved a better fate than we had. It took us pretty much a full game to learn their type of lacrosse. It was way different than what we were used to. Like if somebody comes close to you in the crease or in the kill zone, and you kind of touch them, that's a penalty, like instant penalty. And we were not used to that. Like somebody comes close, you don't have to give them a hard cross check, but you kind of let them know that you're there. And we spent a lot of time in the box the first game, and we ended up losing by a few. And then, we played the host team, which, pretty much ran us right over, because they're actually the Team Europe, I believe, because the international tournament was happening shortly after. So we kind of had an all-star squad that we were facing, and yeah, they kind of dominated us. But after that, we won pretty much every game we played. So I mean, I think if we were to take our normal team, we would have had a better showing. I think if we were to take a team from the PGLL as it currently stands, we'd have a good shot at winning. So overall, great experience. The team was okay, but here's the best part of that whole team. We were a team. And I mean, we had such a blast together. We went sightseeing together. We did everything together as a team. There wasn't one person that was left off. Everybody had a travel buddy because, as you know, traveling abroad and having a few beverages, people get lost or misplaced. So, we made sure we took care of each other. So that was the true tournament. And that was a true reflection of the PGLL overall, to be honest with you.
I think it's all good. Just the experience, meeting players from other countries, and then just being able to talk lacrosse with players from all over the world, and really just talk lacrosse. Like you're there just to kind of see the game played from other countries, styles, and just kind of the experience of being in a new country was kind of, there's nothing but good memories from that trip.
Yeah, we were, I would have said we were kind of middle of the pack. The upper echelon were just that. They were in a league by themselves. The other teams, like Israel and some of those teams which were just being introduced to the sport, we didn't see in the way the format was run as far as playoffs and the round robin structure. Because when you go in, you get tiered and you get pulled away, you win a game, and next thing you know, you're in the top 8 as opposed to the bottom 8.
Well, I think if I recall, there's over nearly 20 teams or so, maybe more. And I mean, there's varying skills amongst those teams. What was really neat about the tournament, I mean, you had teams from stateside, you had teams from Halifax, you had teams from Istanbul, you had teams from, all over the world pretty much. There was varying skills amongst those teams, and there's guys like Gavin Prout, former NLL player, playing in the tournament. So, I mean, that's always an eye-opener when you're sharing a field with someone like that. And yeah, so it was a lot of skill on some teams, and then some teams, you could have a little more laid-back approach towards. But I can think of Raditon. Mainly that roster was made up of Czech Republic national team players, so you knew you were in for a dogfight there. But yeah, just a really good tournament, lots of competition, like I said, and good times had by all.
Oh, for sure. I mean, hands down, guys were asking. There's lots of guys that those teams are weird. Like, what happens is a lot of them, like Team Scotland, for example, is mostly guys from Canada that, have a Scottish background of some sort. So, I mean, they're asking, there's lots of teams asking about next year. Like, are you guys coming back next year? And I said, well, I don't know. I'm getting kind of older and I don't know if I want to do this again. Because it was a huge undertaking. It really was. And I do a lot of things differently. But the way we did it, it was a lot of work and a lot of preparation. But you know what? We got noticed. There's lots of guys who went back the next year, like Dallin Larson's one of them. They were asking questions about a lot of our players. So I definitely think we got noticed over there. My only regret of going is I'd like to place a little higher. We placed kind of higher of the middle, since just the format of the tournament. We placed highest we could based on, we ended up getting sent to the second tier. But realistically, I mean, if we'd have stuck in that, if we'd had our normal team and a good representation of the PGLL, back then even, we would have done quite well. Nowadays, with the PGLL the way it is, I mean, there's several guys throughout the PGLL that actually go to that tournament. Toporowski's one of them. There's a few guys that go to this tournament now. Fetchy, I believe, goes.
One of the interesting things we found, although I found, was kind of like we're used to kind of our style of go play lacrosse, and then go out with the boys and have a meal and have some drinks and things like that. But there, it's really nothing's kind of open really late, as far as you can get some drinks, but finding food or any like type of pub or things like that was like next to impossible, as far as, so I found that quite interesting. That's it's kind of different from our style of playing a night game and then going out to the pub and having some wings and beer. And there, it's kind of, you can have some drinks, but if you want any type of food, you're looking at like a little taco shop.
The whole thing was unbelievable. Like the facility itself, a great outdoor arena, live TV. I remember when we had our first practice there, and I knew this was going to be special when young players from the Czech Republic would come out and watch us practice, and they were just hanging on the fence and sitting in the stands watching us. Here's a team from Canada, this, the creators of the sport, where the sport was born. And they were just watching with great enthusiasm. And then, of course, after the practice, they came out onto the field or the outdoor floor, and were asking players for autographs and things like that. Little things like that is quite an experience, and to be honest, caught some of the guys off guard, I think, because the impact that they had on these young players from Czechoslovakia or the Czech Republic, I guess, and some of the others that are around, will save with some of those younger players for the rest of their lives. And to sign out an autograph, and you're kind of looking around saying, like, who's putting you up to this? And it's not that at all. It's just that they're so in love with the game, and to see players that they'd only dream about that play in North America is just something that was an experience that I'll never forget. I mean, even I had to sign an autograph. I was taken back by that. I was just a coach, and it's just a whole different love of the game there that you don't see here.
It was kind of creepy. Kids were coming up to you asking you for autographs, and so you're signing this book, and it has like Jody Schmelzer, number 6, and then it'd have like a picture of your team beside it, and you'd have to sign beside the thing. And these kids were rushing over, and the one brave kid that knew some English would approach you, and then you'd spend the next like 20 minutes signing these books. Awesome experience. It was an awesome experience, right?
Certainly, certainly the opening ceremonies. Right from the start, you knew you weren't at just a house league tournament. You weren't at some, jamboree, if you will. Got right into it, right? The full crowd outdoor atmosphere, which is totally different, totally new to me. You had the parachuter come in, like I said. And all that excitement, you were signing autographs for kids, which was absolutely surreal. Something that I won't forget. And then right to closing ceremonies. Lights went off, big video board, montage video of the whole tournament with highlights and everything, that led into a fireworks show that would rival any in Saskatchewan. So it was something that it really brought me back to earth, to thinking like, oh my goodness, I went to this because I'd mentioned the bucket list item of lacrosse players, and that tournament, if you will, that event, certainly is number one in my eyes, and something that has an overall entertainment atmosphere and lacrosse atmosphere rolled into one.
The experience was just kind of meeting players from other countries, and I would have definitely personally, I would have liked to done it like earlier in the Heat kind of I guess younger, when I was younger.
And I mean, one short story, pun intended. I mean, we had an incident with ordering shorts from China. We ordered everything in, got it the day or 2 days before we left. So we were leaving on the Saturday, get it on the Thursday, and we tried these shorts on. I'm a pretty big dude, and my wife, who's like 130 pounds, fits my shorts perfectly. So we're like, what do we do now? So a buddy of mine in the industry, phone him up and I say, like, you have to bail us out. We need to have shorts. So he literally drives to Calgary, picks up these shorts, drives back, does them all up, gets them all out to us, and we take off. But everybody brings their game shorts with them. And so the first day that you're there, you're allowed a couple of warm-up sessions, and the warm-up session is actually taped. It's shown on TV. There's people watching you. There's tons of fans in the stands. There's other teams watching you. So like you're on display. So we're getting ready and the guys are kind of a little bit nervous, right? Like, this is kind of weird playing in front of, hundreds and thousands of fans, right? Like it's different for us. And then I forget who it was. They're like, you know what, guys, put on the short shorts. And we're like, yep, let's do it. So everyone threw on these shorts. Well, like I could barely run in mine. Mine were constantly giving me a wedgie. So we run out onto the field and everybody just has the stop and stare and the gasp, like, what are they wearing? And everybody, these things are like about 5 inches, 6 inches above our knees. And we're running around doing our warm up and practice and stuff. And we get off and everyone is just killing themselves in the stands. And there's a lot of trading that goes on, like jerseys and t-shirts and stuff. That was the hottest commodity by far, was Regina Heat's short shorts. So, I mean, that kind of stuff, it's the memories that you build with the team throughout, all your games in the PGLL. And, memories like that, I'll have till the day I die, right? So to me, that's worth every penny and every moment that I spend playing lacrosse.
I've said along that anybody that's ever played the game has to go at just once. I mean, the stands are full. It's a great atmosphere. Some of the people I've met over my time there, I'm still in contact with today, and they're living all over the States. They're living in Denmark and Norway and all over the place. So it's some lasting friendships. It's such a great community.
Oh yeah, no, I could. It was surreal. Like I would encourage anyone or any team from this province to attend that tournament if you can. I know there's free agent teams you can go with. It is absolutely the coolest experience you can have.
Yeah, like I mean, the PGLL itself, very competitive, and if we ever wanted to send a team in there, and I'm going to make a plug here, like I know a guy, we can get in. I'd gladly be a towel boy or water boy or whatever you want just to go, because an amazing tournament in front of, hundreds, if not thousands of fans, with all the hype and everything all around it. Like there's TV cameras always in your face and there's always things going on.
That's my PG version.